Hello, and welcome to our video on setting up SSO for the first time in FORMSTACK. In this video, we will show you how to claim a domain, things to look out for when setting up your identity provider, and some optional settings you'll want to look out for when going through this process. To get started, you'll need to make sure that you're logged in as the FORMSTACK administrator on the account and that you're on the admin panel that can be accessed by logging into admin.formstack.com or by clicking the admin option on the top right if you are currently logged into one of our individual products such as FORMSTACK Forms or Documents. From the admin panel, you'll want to select the single sign-on option on the left-hand side. Now that you're on the single sign-on page, the first step will be claiming your domain. Selecting the Claim Your Domain button will present you with a few options. Let's take a look at these from top to bottom. The first step is going to be to insert your domain name in the text field at the top. It's important to note here that a domain can only be applied to one FORMSTACK account. If your domain has already been claimed, you must either join that FORMSTACK account to use the domain for SSO or use a different domain altogether. The next step is going to be to determine which way you want to verify your domain, through DNS or HTTPS. Let's quickly go over these options. With DNS, you need to copy the TXT value at the bottom and take the text value to make a record in your DNS host. It's important to note that there may be a delay for the changes to post within your DNS host when going this route. For our second option, HTTPS, this can be verified by having a valid SSL certification from your web host. Simply download the HTML file we include at the bottom from the FORMSTACK Claim Domain modal and upload it to your root directory and then publish. The next step after you've chosen your verification method is going to be selecting the Verify Now option to capture your claim domain and confirm verification. Once you've verified your domain, you should see a modal on the screen that will confirm your domain has been verified and is available to connect to your custom provider. Alternatively, you also have the option to save and verify later, and the domain would then appear as a pending verification. If you're unable to verify for some reason, you would see a notification that the domain was unable to be verified, and you'd need to get in touch with your IT administrator for next steps. After adding your domain, the next step would be to add your SSO provider under the Authentication Providers section. The next few steps would be unique depending on your identity provider, and we have some great articles that cover these steps for both SAML and OpenID Connect as examples. We've linked to a few of these articles for you to follow, but you can always do a search on our help site as well. It's also worth mentioning, while you're going through the process of adding your SSO provider, that we support importing your IDP metadata via URL, via file, and via manual entry. Some important steps to use if you need help with troubleshooting your SSO provider. 1. Check with your IT department for any changes to your identity provider or SSO application if you're having trouble with getting it to work. 2. Check your authentication provider settings in the FORMSTACK admin panel for any changes. You can see who last changed the authentication provider and when. 3. If you're using SAML, you can run the SAML Tracer add-on to diagnose issues with your SAML connection. After your SSO provider has been added, we have a few other optional settings to consider below in our user authentication settings. The first tab we will take a look at is our user creation option. When this option is enabled, any member of your org who tries to log into your org using your authentication provider will become a user on your account based on the roles specified in the settings. An email will be sent to the new user to accept the invite to become a FORMSTACK user. Now, it's important to note that the participant role in Forms will only be enabled if you have form workflows on your subscription. The next option we see on this tab is the Enable Quiet User Creation. This option will auto-accept a new FORMSTACK user within your account and skip the user invite process. The next tab is going to cover user login options. The first one we will take a look at is the option to enable to force login via SSO. This optional setting requires any users in your organization with an email matching your claimed domain to log into FormStack using your SSO authentication provider. They won't see a password field when logging in. Admins will still always be able to access the FormStack platform using their original FormStack credentials or via SSO authentication provider. The next option below is the ability to auto-direct to the identity provider. This will let you auto-direct all non-admin users to your identity provider based on the email address they input. The last option we will be taking a look at is under our advanced optional settings and is the ability to enable custom fields. When this option is enabled, you may include custom SSO user fields. These fields are used in tandem with the single sign-on autofill add-on feature in the FormStack Forms app, which allows your users to populate fields on your forms with information from a selected SSO provider's attributes. Once enabled, you'll need to locate the custom field in your SAML account and retrieve the field's unique identifier or field key and paste it into this field. For the custom field label, you'll need to do something similar to the field key and copy the field label from the SAML account and paste it into your FormStack account. For additional information on using autofill through SSO, we'd recommend checking out our resources on single sign-on autofill through our Help Center. With that, we have covered the whole process of setting up SSO for the first time in FormStack. Thank you for watching. We hope this helps make the process of setting up SSO within FormStack become a little easier and more straightforward.